What's going on, everyone? Today is an unboxing video of my new suspension that I finally received. I am so stoked to get it. It took about 2 months. Ordered out of Las Vegas, so I didn't have to pay sales tax, got free shipping, and now I'm going to get into installing it myself. But the first video I'm going to do of this series is an introductory of the parts, why I bought them, pros and cons. Short list of parts: I got Total Chaos upper control arms. I went with Fox suspension, so I went with their 2.5 Reservoir DSC suspension in front and rear. And then in the rear, I went ahead and got a ARB Dakar leaf pack to accommodate for heavier weights in the back. But anyways, let's jump into the video. So the first part I'm going to show you are the upper control arms that I chose. They are Total Chaos upper control arms, part number 96504. They will accommodate for the extra travel with having longer shocks than the stock shock. Now that I've unboxed the Total Chaos upper control arms, we're going to go ahead and dive into what you need when installing these. So per manufacturer recommendation, we're going to be using Super Lube multi-purpose synthetic grease. I have that in the can, which I will use with the sleeves with the urethane for the through bolt. We also have Super Lube tubes, so that I can put that in the grease gun and grease the Zerk fittings that are in here. This kit comes with your spindle bolt, 2 spindle bolts, 8 washers, and 4 Zerk fittings, which is all you need for this set. Looking at the urethane, packaged well. They even give you some Super Lube just in case you don't want to buy extra. I know that I'll be rebuilding these in the future, so I went ahead and got extra so that I don't have to wait to rebuild them. This is the next thing you need, which is Crc Dry Ptfe Lube. This is used for the uniballs. You want to make sure that these stay healthy because they're a pain to replace, although you might need to replace them in the future. So jumping into what the actual upper control arm looks like. As you know, Total Chaos upper control arms are quite expensive, but once you see the amount of detail and workmanship that goes into each control arm, you will not be disappointed when you get these out of the box. I mean, just great workmanship. And leaving the zip ties is very important until you're ready to install them, just to make sure that the misalignment stays correct, and you just want to make sure that you follow their instructions per installation. Now that I've showed you the upper control arms, we're going to go ahead and look at the front shock. They are a Fox 88006414. That is the part number if you want to take a look at that. They accommodate for 0 to 3 inches of lift, and they are the mid-travel / extended travel kit, not to be confused with long travel. These are the Fox 2.5 front shocks. They are DSC, which means dual speed compression. So Fox gives you 2 knobs to adjust the compression and the rebound. It's a great idea for those who want to fine-tune their suspension and able to adjust it on the fly. They come with 600-pound springs, but if you're going to be running a front bumper or a winch, I would suggest going with 700 or 750 right off the bat. You could work this out with your dealer that you do not want to buy the 600-pound springs. You just want to have them put on 700, or bring it to a shop to have them compressed so that you could replace these springs. I'm going to go ahead and leave the zip ties on until I'm ready to install them. This comes with the misalignment to fit right into your lower control arm. Looking at the shock from the side, you will see compression and rebound. On the reservoir housing, you have your reservoir hose. It's very important to understand how this suspension will sit in your truck, in the way that the top will sit in the coil bucket, obviously, and the lower will sit in the lower control arm. But unlike King's suspension, the reservoir will face forward on the vehicle right behind the factory bumper or aftermarket bumper, thus giving the advantage when adjusting that the adjustment for compression and rebound will be easy, accessible, and it's not located on the front of the shock. Looking at the top of the shock, you will see that threads are showing. This is how you adjust for the preload. So on my 2017 Toyota Tacoma, I wanted 2.75 inches of lift, which meant that I needed 23 threads showing on the left side, which is the driver's side, and 20 threads showing on the right side, which is the passenger side. Now Fox says that 8 threads, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 threads showing is a net lift of 1 inch. But when you're talking about the 3rd gen Tacoma, it already comes with an inch of lift. So when you adjust the thread count and it comes factory at 2 inches, you're gonna wanna add 1 more inch for 2 inches of lift, because you have to adjust for that 1 inch of lift from the factory. Now these numbers are an estimate of how it will sit once it's on the truck. You should always take measurements after you lower the truck off the jacks and drive it around a little bit and see where you're sitting. But for the most part, the reason why the thread counts are different from left to right is it's adjusting for the Tacoma lean, which is 0.25 inches on the left side, which is the driver's side. If the springs on your front shocks are a little bit scuffed up, don't worry about it. It's completely normal. Some of this stuff gets a little banged up in shipping. It does not affect the performance at all. And they will actually get more and more scuffed up as you drive on them. So this is what the dual speed compression adjustment looks like for the rebound and compression. As you can see, there's a lot of detail that goes into this. You'll be able to play around with this on the trails and accommodate the ride in which you desire by twisting the knob one way or the other way and adjusting both. Now that we've taken a look at the front shock, let's go ahead and take a look at the rear shock. The rear shock's part number is 883-26007. These are the rear shocks. There's no adjustment needed with these. These are simply bolt-on. You don't have to adjust them like the front reservoirs. And they are part number 883-26007. And these are the rear shocks that accommodate for 0 to 1.5 inches of lift. And they also have the same reservoirs as the front shocks, and they are a 2.5 inch in diameter reservoir. And lastly, the leaf pack. I went with ARB. They've been around for so long that they're a dependable brand for my rear leaf pack. It is part number EL095R, and this is universal from 2005 on. A lot of the parts that you order for these Toyota Tacomas, the 2nd gen and the 3rd gen have similar components, so a lot of the parts are shared between, but be sure when you're ordering new parts for your truck that you're buying them for your generation of Tacoma. In the 3rd generation Tacoma, it gives 2 inches of lift in the rear. The reason I bought these was to accommodate for a canopy, a rooftop tent, and any heavy objects that I want to put in the bed of the truck so that there's no sag. When you do receive these, ARB does not wrap these, so they will come a little banged up from rolling back and forth in the delivery truck. But a simple solution to that is to spray paint them black, and this will prevent future rust, and these will definitely be the first things to rust underneath your truck. So it's a good idea just to put 3 or 4 coats on them and then install them on the vehicle. And lastly, I'm going to be going over some of the things that you might want to buy before you install the suspension, and I'll go ahead and show you after this. Now that I've showed you the front shock, rear shock, upper control arm, and leaf pack, I'm going to go over what you need along with those parts. So number 1, you'll need U-bolts, longer in length to accommodate the Dakar leaf pack, since it is thicker because it accommodates more weight than the factory leaf pack. You're going to need bushings for that, so you'll get yellow urethane bushings along with the sleeves. You also want to get a spacer kit for your drive train, your drive shaft, so that you could accommodate for that lift. It'll obviously come with some stickers, which I don't care about. The mounting hardware for the reservoir, the clamps, those two back there are the spacer kit for the sway bar. Now a lot of people will say, well, you're taking away by having a sway bar on a suspension of this stature. I like to drive a lot of highway, so I do not want a lot of sway left to right in speeds of 50 miles per hour plus. So it'll be important to install those because you don't want the sway bar to rub on the front shock. Next, these are the mounting brackets for the front shock reservoir. Those are the rear. Both use the factory bolts to bolt those on. And then that is what you need as far as accessory parts and mounting hardware. So that concludes today's video. I hope it was informative and it let you guys know what I bought as a suspension and what you could possibly buy in the future. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe. The next video will be an installation video of the upper control arm install, the front shock, the rear shock, and the leaf pack. I'm gonna go ahead and segment those videos so that people could watch them independently and get a better idea on how to install them. Thanks, guys.